Hi, we're going to be learning about rounding decimals today. So before we start, you'll want to have reviewed the slides. What are decimals, addition and subtraction of decimals, multiplication and division of decimals, and rounding. As mentioned in previous presentations, decimals are a part of a whole number. We usually round decimals after computation, such as adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. Rounding decimals. Rounding a decimal means estimating it to a certain place value like hundreds or thousands. Rounding decimals is useful for estimating the values of very precise numbers and often makes them easier to work with. The picture on the slide is an example of rounding decimals. In this case, each ball represents a number written next to it. If instead of a number line, we imagine the numbers from 1.1 to 1.2 forming a hill, then rounding the decimals to nearest tenth is easy. We just see which number the ball rolls towards. In this case, all the numbers less than 1.15 roll towards the left towards 1.1, and all the numbers greater than 1.15 roll to the right towards 1.2. 1.15 is at the top of the hill exactly in the middle of 1.1 and 1.2, but by convention we round 1.15 towards the right to 1.2. This is an example of rounding numbers between 1.1 and 1.2, but in general you can think of rounding any number to any place value in the same way. So for example, here we have the number 5.3127 rounded to the hundredths place, and as you can see, since 1 is the hundredths place and it is less than 5, we round it towards the left. So it's 5.31, and we'll get more into this on the next slide. So how to round. The procedure for rounding decimals is as follows. The first step is to find the place value you want to round the decimal to, such as the tenths place or the hundredths place. This digit is called the rounding digit. Next, look at the digit to the right of the rounding digit. If it is less than 5, then simply get rid of all the digits after the rounding digit. And if it is greater than or equal to 5, then add 1 to the rounding digit. Then, one important thing to note is that if the rounding digit is 9, then adding 1 produces 10. So the rounding digit becomes a 0, and the 1 is carried over to the digit to its left. If that digit is also a 9, then continue adding 1 and carrying over until you reach a digit that is not 9. Once you have added 1 to the rounding digit, get rid of all the digits after the rounding digit. Let's look at some examples. Here we have an example for when the digit to the right of the rounding digit is less than 5. In this example, they're asking you to round the number 3.64372 to the hundredths place. The hundredths place is where 4 is. That means the rounding digit is 4. And the digit to the right of 4 is 3. Since 3 is less than 5, we can simply drop all the digits after 4. So all of these numbers here can be dropped so that you get 3.64. Now let's look at an example where the digit to the right of the rounding digit is greater than or equal to 5. They give you the same number in this example, 3.64372. And now they're asking you to round it to the thousandths place. Thus, the rounding digit is 3, since that's the thousandths place, and the digit to its right is 7. Since 7 is greater than 5, we need to add 1 to 3, so that the rounding digit here becomes 4, as you can see here. And then drop all the digits after. So these are the 7 and 2 are the numbers that you want to drop. So as you can see here, it becomes 3.644. And this 4 comes from adding 1 to this 3. Now let's look at an example where the rounding digit is 9. We're given the number 7.95068. And we're asked to round it to the tenths place. The tenths place is where 9 is. So 9 is the rounding digit. Since the digit to its right is 5, we need to add 1 to 9. By adding 1 to 9, it becomes 10. So this becomes 10. So the rounding digit becomes 0, and 1 is carried over to this digit here. Since 1 is carried over to this digit, we need to add 1 to 7, which is 8, so the rounded decimal is 8.0. Let's look at an NGSA example problem. 0.5 times 0.7 divided by 0.9 equals, and they're asking you to round it to 2 decimal places. This question came from the NGSA exam 2020. Let's look at the solution now. First, you need to multiply 0.5 by 0.7, and by doing so, you get 0.35. Then divide 0.35 by 0.9, which equals 0.388. It asks you to round to 2 decimal places, which means that they want 2 digits after the decimal point. So the rounding digit is 8. And the rounding digit to the right, the digit to the right of the rounding digit is also 8. Since 8 is greater than 5, we need to add 1 to the rounding digit, which is this one, which becomes 9. Then we drop all the digits after this rounding digit. So we drop this 8, so that you get the answer 0.39. And so if we look back, 0.39, answer choice C is correct. Now let's look at another example. So this question asks, find the value of 68 times 2.4. Round your answer to the nearest whole number. This question came from the NGSA exam 2013 free response. They asked you to solve 68 times 2.4, then round the answer to the nearest whole number. Now take a minute to pause this video and try to work out this problem on your own. Now let's look at the solution. First, you need to multiply 68 by 2.4. It asks you to round to the nearest whole number, which means that they want to round to the digit before the decimal. So the rounding digit here is 3. The digit to the right of the rounding digit is 2. Since 2 is less than 5, we can simply drop all the digits after the rounding digit. So you can drop this 2, and we simply get 163. So the correct answer is 163. Thank you for watching.